Hello people, this is Mark from KharisChangeWorks. Guys, hope that you're well. In today's short story, it's an interesting one today. I see in this story the flaw of many a relationship. Society, friends, married couples and so on and so forth. Where what goes on in today's story is commonplace, especially today. It binds people up, it snares you, it embitters you incredibly, this little story today. So you might ask, Mark, what is it? We'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to ask you just to do all the YouTube admin, the like, the share, the subscribe, the comment. When you hit the bell, pick all, tell all your friends, tell all your family. Myself and Laura are working really hard on the channel. And also, whilst I'm at it, thank you for your support. It is very much appreciated. Let's get to the story. It's based in Japan, as most of these little stories are. But let's have a go and see what the lesson is today. It is simply referred to as the muddy road. And it goes as follows. Tanzan and Aikido were once travelling together down a muddy road. A heavy rain was still falling. Coming around a bend, they met a lovely girl in a silk kimono and a sash, unable to cross the intersection. "Come on, girl," said Tanzan at once. Lifting her in his arms, he carried her over the mud. Aikido did not speak again until that night when they reached the lodging temple. Then he no longer could restrain himself. "We monks don't go near females," he told Tanzan. "Especially not young and lovely ones. It is dangerous." "Why did you do that?" "I left the girl there," said Tanzan. "Are you still carrying her?" Interesting, isn't it? That you try and help. And you do help. And amazingly, the people who are traveling your road with you, when you meet something that might be a little bit distracting, in this case, that young lady, how one person decides that he's going to do the right thing, he's going to do the moral thing, he's going to do the friendly thing, the helpful thing. The other person, on the other hand, is so principled, so strict to the code of conduct as far as conviction goes, that he completely failed to see the need at that point in time. He failed to see the possibility of help. He failed to see that he could be useful at that point in time. So in the story, one decides to go against all of those and help, putting the girl down at the other end and letting her go her way, and them pair carried on with their way. How one decided that that was it was the end of the story, but the other one just decided that, hang on a second here, this isn't the right thing to do. It goes against the rules, it goes against the teaching, it goes against whatever we believe in, and it goes against everything that you stand for. And by hanging on to this issue, it started to begrudge him a little bit. And as the story goes, he could not contain himself. He had to say something. So he did. Identifying. Be careful for distractions. Yes, be careful. Be careful, people will talk. Yes, they will. Yeah, I understand all this. The other side of the coin is also, man, it's dangerous. Don't you understand? It's dangerous. And I'm sure that all those things were considered before the help was offered and the help was done. What's interesting is how when people are so principled, so inflexible, so, dare I say, narrow-minded, that they forget to see the need. And they themselves become angry, upset. They hold the grudge against the one who helps. And yet, maybe that is what they are learning to do. But they become so angry and bitter, begrudging what was done to help, holding it against his fellow mate. It's interesting in today's society, isn't it true that when you help and it kind of causes other people a few issues, it puts their nose out of joint, how they get angry at you doing something positive, doing something constructive, when they could too. They just choose not to. It's a true story. So many people hold grudges. They don't even understand that they're the ones who are actually angry. They're the ones who are actually out of control. They're the ones who are failing to see the needs. They're the ones who could be doing something useful. And then the people who are, they're the ones who all of a sudden who are wrong. You're breaking your principles, pal, I hear in the background. It's dangerous, of course. Helping anybody is dangerous these days. So many people are so biased and have millions of opinions on the most pettiest of things. Man, all you need to do is just look at the world and you just say one slight thing out of line and you will have the whole world come against you, because now all of a sudden your opinion is slightly different to theirs. Your point of view is slightly different to the next door neighbors. That makes you wrong, of course. Your life experience doesn't matter because it is not the common thing. When you are told what your opinion is and you are told that you will like your sort of unwanted opinion, and when you don't, you're it. The target's now on your back because you are labeled the rebel. Stubborn, resistant, you're the enemy. You dare to have an opinion that's different than everybody else? Shame on you. This is the philosophy and the ideologies in today's society. All you've got to do is open your eyes and look. Man, I dare you to say anything remotely controversial. Anything remotely controversial. And observe the flashbacks, observe the kickbacks, observe the resistance that out of the blue comes from nowhere. Your bestest friend might be begrudged because you dare have an opinion, especially if it's not in line with their opinion, the mainstream opinion. Oh, hang on. We now have a problem all of a sudden. We might have been friends for years and years and years and years and years and years. But because you now decide to say something that isn't in line with what I like, our friendship now has to end. Open your eyes and you will realize that this is commonplace in today's society. My friend, I want to ask you to open your eyes and take the blinkers off and use your ears and certainly think. When you see someone in need, do something about it. They need for a reason. It might be circumstance, it might be financial, it might be emotional, it might be physical, it might be, psychological, it might be whatever the case might be. And if you have opportunity to help someone to get from point A to point B, in terms of whether it be the road that they're traveling on as per in the story, or whether it be they move from point A to point B because they are struggling with something, do it. Dare I say, the law of attraction's philosophy is that the universe observes and notices and will pay you back. It is the law of karma, sowing and reaping. What goes around comes around. And that brings me a lot of peace in many ways. The nonsense that is being spoken about nowadays, the lies and the deceit, the corruption. They're spewing it all out, but when it comes around, then all of a sudden, it's not my fault for spreading this corruption, it's your fault for not accepting the corruption. These kind of things are taking place every single minute of every single day, regardless of where you are. You just need to open your eyes and see. So when you do something that is useful and helpful for fellow man, at some point, based on the law of sowing and reaping, what goes around comes around, you will be rewarded for your kind act. Be patient. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow. It might be in 20 or 30 or 40 years' time. There's a little picture that Lara put on the Facebook page that says, the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. And there is no greater truth in the sowing and reaping principle than that. So, sow your seed by good works and kind gestures and all these kind of things. Be like the first monk who picks the woman up, the young lady, the distraction, the trouble, the whatever, and helps her across the river. Be like him. Leave her, let her go. She needs to move on, so do you. Unlike his body, who couldn't get over the principles of, shouldn't do this, mate. It's wrong. I don't care about whether it was someone in need, whether it was they were ill or not, whether they couldn't do it for whatever reason. Yes, it is important to be principled, but when your principles actually hinder you from doing good to others, reevaluate your principles. It's an interesting place, the world nowadays, and believe me, my opinion is it's going to get more bizarre as time goes on. But I want to ask you this. Always, always do your best for mankind. There's a lot of needy people out there. There's a lot of hurting people out there. And if there's something that you can do to aid them in their recovery, their healing, whatever the difficulties is that they might be struggling, if there's anything that you can do to ease their pain, you will get rewarded in one way or another. It is a law of nature. It's sowing and reaping. What goes around comes around. We all talk about it every day. That's all I want to say in today's little video. You might be trained in the same discipline, but you might have two completely different attitudes towards people. That's all I want to say. Help whatever you can. Do your best in whatever you do. As I said in the beginning of this particular video, please do all the YouTube admin, the like, the share, the subscribe, all those things. For now, this is Mark from KharisChangeWorks. I'll speak to you soon.